Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Recently, there's been a lot of new trailers released, and so today we're going to be talking about three big ones that we plan on definitely reviewing in the future. Two that I am very tapped into. One that Nico himself is going to have a lot to say about.
Yeah.
And so we've decided. Should we list the trailers now?
Yeah. So we're gonna be talking about obviously three different ones, like you said. We're gonna start with Dune Part 3. We'll move on then to Spiderman Brand New Day. And then we're going to talk about the trailer for Maul Shadow Lord. We're obviously going to talk about what we think about these trailers, what we like about them, what we don't like about them, what we think it means for the movies or the show, and what we want to see from the movies and the show. We'll end up reviewing all three of these more than likely, unless, I don't know, one of us dies in a car crash, and then the podcast will no longer exist probably. But
Hopefully not.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. So, do you want to jump into it?
Yeah, let's start. This is going to be a shorter segment, but we're going to start on Dune 3 right now.
Yeah, Dune Part 3.
So,
do you want to start with your first talking point that you want to talk about?
Okay, this is just a basic one because it's been stuck in my head since we watched it. Bro, the soundtrack, the Timmy D in the background,
Timmy D?
Yeah, bro, that's Timmy D. Come on now.
That's not Timmy D.
That's Timmy D. That's Timmy D.
That's Timmy C.
That's Timmy D. Come on now.
That's Timmy C.
But his soundtrack of him doing the hymn or whatever they're called, the chant,
yeah.
And it just gets louder and louder. The action kicks up. It looks really, really good. Yeah. And I talked to Nico about this earlier. This is a small detail I found out about Dune 2 is because the Dune movies have always been very particular about their soundtracks.
Yeah.
So in Dune 2, from a majority of the movie, the choir we hear the main choir is entirely female, and then when Paul Atreides goes and connects himself, fully connects to the what's it called? The voice, the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah, he learns to master the voice. Yes.
Yeah, he masters the voice. That's the first time a male has been entered into the voice, obviously because of the prophecy.
And so then, the choir, yeah.
Then we see men. Then we hear men entering the choir. We get that deeper hymn. We see him, and it kind of goes along with his journey as well. So when we see this chant in this movie, I'm really excited to see what that small details like that will lead to in the actual movie itself.
Yeah. I'll go on to my talking point. I'm probably most excited for this in the entire movie, and that's Anya Taylor-Joy's character.
Yeah, I had that written down.
So
I love Anya Taylor-Joy as an actor.
I'm not gonna spoil anything because I do know some stuff that happens because I haven't read the books. You haven't read the books, right?
No, I haven't.
So. But I do know some of the stuff that happens in the books. I know that this character obviously is going to be his sister. It was the one that we saw glimpses of in Dune Part 2.
Oh, yeah. And
we saw that vision of her in Dune Part 2. We saw her communicating with her mom from inside the womb. She obviously has voices of all these generations behind her in her head. And I'm just really excited for how they handle that character. I'm super excited for that character.
For anyone who doesn't know, there's a 17-year time skip between Dune 2 and Dune 3. So that's why we see her...
Which, if you look at just Timmy, you will not be able to tell.
No,
he looks 17 years old.
He looks the same age in half the trailer.
Yeah, pretty much.
But, I mean, with the buzz cut.
Does he look 17 years older, though? No.
Are we seeing Worm Paul? Or does it...
No,
that's his son, or is that...
That's his son.
That's his son?
Okay. That's his son. But, yeah, I'm really excited for that character. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I mean, bro, I'm just... This is my next one. The variety in the action scenes that we saw in that trailer from the... It
will probably be crazy in the actual movie, for sure.
Yeah, what are the sand people called? The
Fremen?
The Fremen, yeah. Sorry, it's been so long since I've watched Dune 2.
Yeah.
But when we saw the Fremen and the D1 Paul Glazer... When we saw that guy
Stilgar, yeah.
And when we saw them just murking that samurai kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then you compare that to the gunfire raining down while they're running across some Normandy type shit. And then you see them there was the other scene where they're carrying a crate or a boat or something like that on their shoulder and they're still getting shot. Obviously we see Duncan. It's a training scene, I think. We see of Duncan, Idaho. It's
that's my next thing I want to talk about.
There's a lot of just in terms of action, this might be the most varied movie we've ever seen. I would imagine I wouldn't be surprised if we got actual space combat at some point in this movie as well.
Well, I do think the action in this movie will end up being not talked about as much because it's coming out the same day as Doomsday.
I think this
which
movie,
will inevitably have more action.
I think this movie will end up being talked about less than it should be because I'm gonna be honest.
I still don't like the idea that both of these movies are coming out on the same day.
Well, neither of them are pushing their release date back. They're both standing strong because Doomsday's not pushing back any farther.
Yeah,
and it's like
because Doomsday's already been delayed 4 times.
Yeah, and it's
Dune isn't moving. It has the IMAX screens.
Yeah, bro. They want to do their own Barbenheimer thing, and it's like
I don't think it'll work as well as Barbenheimer did.
Because Barbenheimer were 2 very different movies. That's why it worked so well.
It also works so well because it's like those movies ended up kind of like they were targeting different audiences.
Yeah,
and they ended up actually helping each other's movies.
Yeah,
I think there is no scenario where these 2 movies don't end up just taking away from each other.
Yeah, they're gonna end up hurting each other's box sales to an extent.
To an extent, of course, yeah. But I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I will say personally, right now, Dune 3. I think in terms of the movies I'm most excited for this year,
I'm more excited for Dune 3 than I am for Dune.
No, I'm most excited for the Odyssey movie. That's first and foremost.
I'm more excited for Dune 3
because that Odyssey movie. I've been looking at that shit. I've been like, you're hearing. They have the craziest cast. They have
well, so does Dune Part 3.
Dune Part 3 has a crazy cast, but Odyssey has like 10, 15 A-list actors.
Yeah.
And it's like crazy cast, Christopher Nolan movie, special cameras that they literally made in
for IMAX, yeah.
For IMAX, and they literally made it so Christopher Nolan is the first person to use them. Obviously, Matt Damon has never missed as a lead role, and they give him Odysseus, one of the most legendary, probably the most legendary story ever.
Yeah, but we're not here to talk about the Odyssey, so that's probably wrong. But no,
we're talking about we're not talking about the Odyssey.
We're not talking about the Odyssey right now. But my next one, I don't think you caught on to this. Do you remember that Duncan Idaho already died?
Yeah, he got killed in the first movie.
That's his clone in the trailer.
I knew it was something with that. I thought he just got revived somehow.
No, that's his clone.
Oh shit.
That's not him. That's his clone. And listen, I like spoiler alert for anyone, but like that's not really a spoiler because you can kind of tell there was something going on there because he obviously has died on screen. But my thing is I want to see how they're going to handle the clone because I think that kind of thing, I kind of put that in like the same category that I would put like maybe like time travel. Where it's like
very hard to do right.
It's very hard to do something like this correctly and do it right. So I want to see how they're going to handle it. I want to see because I could very easily like imagine a scenario where I go in and I watch this movie and I come out of it saying this movie would have been a 10 out of 10 if they didn't do that Duncan Idaho clone or if they did that Duncan Idaho clone differently.
Yeah, I mean, they have to address it. One thing I do want to see them address is
because I didn't think he would be in the trailer.
I knew he was going to be in the movie, obviously. We've been hearing about him being in Dune 3
since before. We knew he was going to be in the movie.
Since before Dune 2.
I didn't think he was going to be in the trailer because I didn't think he would have that big of a role.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. One thing I do want to talk about is, at the end of Dune 2, the dynamic between Paul and Chani was very tense. Like, obviously they don't have to address it because it's been 17 years, but I would like to see it addressed how they fixed that because he very obviously went against her and went to the princess, breed with me, like.
Oh no, the Irulan is not his kid's mother.
No, I know it's not. But he went in the movie. He was like, "Be my wife."
That was political, though.
Yeah, it was political.
That was all political.
Yeah, but
I don't think Chani's mad at. Chani was mad that he went on to become what he became.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to see that addressed. That's one thing. I mean, what was my other thing I had written down?
I'll get my next one. One thing I am curious about, because for those who don't know, there are 6 main Dune books.
Yes.
And this one is heavily inspired by Dune Messiah, which is the second book.
Mm-hmm.
The third one, from my knowledge, is Children of Dune, that has a lot to do with Anya Taylor-Joy's character. And it kind of seems like they're trying to adapt a mixture of both while putting a conclusion and closing out the story with this movie. So I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to end a trilogy based on a book series where you're kind of ending it on the second book. Because Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2, that's both the first book.
Yeah, it's the first book.
Because they just decided that was supposed to be one movie. They split it in half. And so the fact that they did that, and now this third movie is going to be the last one, where they're adapting most of the second book, and I'm probably assuming part of the third one. My question is, are you going to be able to close out the story with this movie in a way that, like, obviously not only just does justice to the book series, but, like, also just works? Because, like, the story continues way long after this. So, like, at least from the books.
It goes like multiple generations down, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It goes multiple generations down.
I don't know.
Like, after Dune Part 2 came out, all you heard from book readers that like, obviously read the book series was, you guys think this is good. Paul isn't even the main character of the series.
Yeah, he's not, because
Leto is. Yeah, and so it's like, that's why it's like I'm because the whole trailer marketed it as, this is the epic conclusion.
This is the Holy War, yeah.
Yeah, this is the epic conclusion. Like, it says the words, this is the epic conclusion of the Dune trilogy. Yeah. And so it's like, I'm curious to see how they're going to finish off the story.
Yeah, I mean,
in a way that feels like...
I mean, based off that trailer, I mean... Yeah, I want to avoid talking about it too much, because I want to, like, save some more for as we get closer to the movie and we have more and more stuff coming out. Mm-hmm. So, but I will say... Spiderman Brand New Day comes out in a few months. We just finally got the first trailer for it after lots of
you're done with your Dune?
Yeah.
I have one more. I'll say it real quick. Because it's kind of just... This isn't really a talking point. It's more of a question. Mm-hmm. Will Timmy finally get the Oscar with this movie?
He should have gotten it for...
He should have gotten it for Marty Supreme. I didn't even watch Marty Supreme.
He should have gotten it for Dune 2.
Yeah, he definitely should have gotten it for Dune 2. But, do you think this movie will be the one to get the Oscar? Because... You also got to realize the Oscars don't really like people who play the same role 3 separate times.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to get it that way. But do you think this movie will be that good that he'll get it anyways?
Well, because here's the thing. The Oscars are a voted award. It's literally PFA Player of the Year. That's what the Oscars are.
You got to explain. No one knows. Okay. Most of the people who watch this probably don't know what that is.
The Oscars, they have favoritism for certain kinds of people.
It's definitely very political now.
It's very political now. And obviously, Timothée Chalamet has gone on multiple times. And it was a very big... quote-unquote controversy when he went on and said, like, I want to be one of the greats, I want to be a star or some shit like that.
I don't think that's controversial.
I don't think it's controversial.
Anyone who kind of follows sports does not think that's controversial.
Yeah, but a lot of people that are only into film and stuff like that disagreed with him saying stuff like that. They're like, that's too arrogant.
You should be humble, yeah.
But it's like, dude, I like it. He's very clearly one of, if not the best actors around right now.
Yeah.
He's delivered multiple... like S+ tier performances.
Definitely.
Dune 3 is setting up to be the best movie he's ever been in and his best performance.
And I'm really excited for that. Yeah.
I'm really excited for that. I don't know if he'll win Best Actor just because of how many movies are coming out this year. I think
it's not even just that. It's like, you know how good this movie has to be and how good his performance has to be to win it, considering this is the 3rd time he's played this role.
I think
because they kind of take away from...
I think Matt Damon's gonna win it, genuinely, because
maybe
the Oscars love Christopher Nolan movies. Like Interstellar has won 1 billion awards.
Sure,
like deservedly, of course.
Deservedly, yeah.
But it's won 1 billion awards.
Yeah.
Okay, now
we can move on. Yeah.
So Spider-Man Brand New Day, we've finally gotten the trailer after a lot of, admittedly, very bad plot leaks or theoretical plot leaks.
Yeah, theoretical plot leaks.
So we see in this trailer. And I want to hear what your first note or talking point about the trailer specifically, and then we'll get into the movie.
Okay. My first... This isn't necessarily about the... Well, it is about the trailer. There is a lot of shots that we see in this trailer. They kind of lead us to believe that... Because me, personally, I didn't think Ned and MJ would have that big of a role in this movie.
I knew MJ would have a role.
I knew both of them would have a role. Like, I knew they were going to be present in the movie. I did not think... Because based off of this trailer, it seems like they're going to have pretty big roles.
I thought we were at the point where we were phasing out Ned, I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of sick of seeing Ned.
I don't really mind Ned. I thought both of them weren't going to have the biggest roles in this movie. Because I thought that was going to be something like, oh, they're going to wait until the 2nd or even 3rd movie of his new trilogy to set that up. It seems like they're going to be a big role now. Which is, like, we'll see how that ends up working out. My thing is... Because we see the shots of them watching Spider-Man get the key to the city. We see the shots of them all being at a house party together. I'm assuming MJ's moving into her new apartment.
Friendly neighbor.
Which seems like, if Peter's not lying in that one line he said at the end of the trailer, it seems like him and MJ might be neighbors now. Which is kind of, like, I kind of like that because it's like a tie back to the comics where they actually were neighbors.
Yeah.
But it seems like they might actually be neighbors now. And... there was the other scene where Spider-Man and MJ are kind of like at night standing on a rooftop looking at each other. And when you see MJ, you see her she's still wearing the Black Dahlia necklace. Ned seems like there's one shot where people keep talking about where like right before, like the last part of the trailer where MJ comes into the room and Ned and Peter are already there. So it's like, do they know each other? Does Peter introduce himself here to Ned?
Well, because
does Ned introduce himself to Peter?
I think because they were best friends, I think it will be a kind of like natural kind of
grow
back.
Yeah.
And that's gonna bring us to the talking point of Ned's sling ring.
No, that's not where I'm going with this. Where I am going with this is, it was inevitable ever since No Way Home came out. In your opinion, I want to hear your opinion. What is the way that you want them? When I say them, I mean Ned and MJ. How would you want them to get their memories back?
Okay, I don't know as much for Ned, but specifically for MJ, I would like to see a Percy Jackson type thing going on. Where it's like maybe she doesn't remember his name, but she remembers his presence. She remembers what he brought to her life.
Okay.
Like, and it was like a kind of thing. And then it's like, as they're around each other, as they're neighbors, it just starts developing more and more. And then we'll say like...
So you want them to just fall back in love naturally?
I want it to be, obviously, as they get closer in the movie, her, like, this presence that she remembers starts taking shape.
You think they should regain the memories in this movie?
I think it should partially be in this movie and should all be in the next movie.
Okay, I agree with that.
Like, I think MJ should at least remember partially. Also, I kind of like that they got rid of emo MJ. That's just like a little side topic. But I think MJ
I think they already started that in No Way Home, to be fair.
No, she was gone in No Way Home, like, almost completely. But, like, thank God.
I think it was really only Homecoming, to be fair.
It was No Way Home, too. It was No Way Home.
Far From Home didn't have it as much.
Far From Home.
No Way Home didn't have it.
Far From Home had it, bro. Far From Home had it.
To an extent, yeah.
She was on the science team with Flash. Come on now.
That's not emo.
No, but like they made her like a weird kind of like nerdy when MJ's supposed to be like the... Which like it's not the worst change ever, but I do like that they're changing it. No, but okay, that was a branch off. Like I don't think she should necessarily remember Peter Parker, the guy I was in love with, Spider-Man, probably the biggest hero in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Avengers are gone. So yeah, Spider-Man's the biggest hero in New York, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's getting the key to the city, so...
Yeah, so, like, I would like it to be, like, a slow thing where it's, like, we see her, like, maybe she ends up in a certain place that she was with Peter or something like that. Or when she's on the roof in that scene with Spider-Man, she's, like, we see, like, a facial expression that indicates that, like, something's off in her head. Like, something like that. Where it's, like, a slow build-up, and then there's one large moment where it's just, like, oh.
Yeah. Here's how I want to do it. Because you might not remember this. Do you remember in No Way Home where Peter enters the coffee shop? He has the note in his hand that we actually see in the trailer as well.
Yeah.
He has the note in his hand. He walks up to MJ and he goes, "Hi, my name is Peter Parker." And then he stops himself because he's like, that's when he realizes MJ's better off without him in his life because he can't endanger her that way, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this. When Peter's walking out of that coffee shop, the camera pans to MJ, and she has a look of recognition on her face.
Yeah.
Maybe not of recognition, might not be the right word, but a look of like, I feel like I should know that guy.
Yeah, like deja vu.
Like deja vu. Yes, perfect. That's the exact word I'm looking for. And because she had that, and because she obviously hasn't had any interactions with him since then, because she reintroduces herself in the trailer again, what I'm thinking is, I think, because especially people have pointed this out as well, in that last shot of the trailer where MJ goes, "My name is MJ, friendly neighbor," right?
Yeah.
If you look at the background behind Peter, there's an entire almost like evidence board on like her wall of pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh, because they're gonna make her into the actual reporter now. Yeah.
I don't think it's about the actual reporter. I think, because here's what I'm thinking. The spell made her forget Peter Parker.
It didn't make her forget.
It didn't make her forget Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is, especially because if you look at her face when she's watching Spider-Man get the key to the city, I think she has memories with Spider-Man, but she doesn't remember who he is. And so she feels a connection towards Spider-Man, and I think maybe Ned might feel it as well. And I think that connection towards Spider-Man makes it so that she goes out of her way to, again, try to figure out who Spider-Man is. And then I think that's when inevitably when she finds out who Spider-Man is, that's when I don't know if it'll be a full recollection of everything just swarming back into her head, or if it'll be like some sort of like gradual thing where things slowly come back to her afterwards. But I think it will definitely be her finding out that Peter's Spider-Man again.
I think it should be in the second movie because there's just so much in this first movie to develop, which we'll move on from that now because there is a lot to talk about.
Definitely. Like we could talk about that for like an hour.
The reported, which we still aren't sure yet, but Sadie Sink.
Sadie Sink, yes.
We don't know if that was her character because we obviously didn't see the face.
It's very heavily implied it's her character though, yeah.
But having blonde hair kind of goes against the popular theory that she was Jean Grey.
She didn't have blonde hair in that shot.
Did she not? I swear it was like
she wore a hood.
Oh, was it a hood? Oh, it looked like fucking blonde hair to me. But it's probably Jean Grey, is what we know.
It's more than likely Jean Grey, yeah. Based off of like, especially that one shot where she's like controlling the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably her.
I will say, bro, there was that one scene. I have this written down because it was genuinely, I was like, what the hell's happening? When Peter opens the like armored vehicle and there's like the old lady inside, and the old lady looks at the soldier, and then you can very obviously see her like take control of the soldier.
Yeah.
Like I'm like wondering, like, what villain is that?
I think that's Jean Grey.
You think I don't because she never can directly transfer her consciousness to someone else.
Well, maybe that's just an MCU thing that they're doing because I don't know what other villain. Because
it might be a niche Spider-Man villain I haven't heard of. Like I don't know. I mean, we already know they're doing Boomerang. We already know they're doing. I mean, Scorpion's not niche, but we already know they're doing Scorpion.
They're doing, as far as we know, Scorpion, Tarantula, Boomerang, The Hand, Tombstone, and it's rumored Mr. Negative.
I think they might set Mr. Negative up for the second movie. I think that's what it'd be. But me and Nico have our own disagreement about this. I think the Hand are going to be the main villains. He thinks the Tombstone's going to be the main villain of the movie.
Well, because I've seen leaks saying Tombstone might be it. I also think I think the Hand will be working for Tombstone.
I think if anything, it'd be a 50-50 relationship because the Hand is way too big to be working for Tombstone.
That's the only part where like I agree with you that like that might be the reason why.
And because I am almost 100% confident we're never getting an Iron Fist in the MCU. I think they're going to entirely transfer the Hand to Spider-Man.
Probably.
So I think that they're going to end up being
either the entirely transfer the Hand to Spider-Man, or it'll be like a thing where we inevitably see Spider-Man and Daredevil team up. It'll be a Hand thing there.
Do you think we get a team up movie?
I don't know about a team up movie, but there have been so many teases, leaks, rumors that like the plan is to inevitably have them team up. Yes.
Yeah.
Because we've already seen them share the screen together.
Yeah, obviously, and No Way Home. Yeah, so that's my thing about the Hand, and then I had one more written down here. I had a few more written down.
I'll give my next one. You just talked about the main villain, so I'm not going to mention that one. My next one. We know that there's going to be some sort of evolution of Peter's powers.
That's what I was going to talk about.
Right? We know he's going to get the organic webbing at some point. We know that...
Which I've always liked the organic webbing. I've
always preferred organic webbing.
I've always preferred that.
We know he's going to get the organic webbing. We know he's going to be in some sort of like spider cocoon thing. And because that's where we get the shot of him dangling outside of his apartment, which who knows, maybe MJ sees that and then gets some sort of... I don't know. But that's that's a different point.
I think my question is the webbing, not Peter. I think that's what she was doing.
Maybe. But my question is, they're either going down the route of the Other, which is just a comic line where I'm pretty sure he just gets like a buff in his powers from like naturally.
Yeah.
Right? That could be something that's like induced by Jean Grey maybe.
Or they're going
down Man Spider. So my question is, do you think we will actually see Man Spider? Do you think we'll see him with the 6 arms? And with the fucking... Because he already has the red eyes in the trailer.
No, because Man Spider isn't 6 arms. It's actual mandibles off a spider. Like, he gets actual spider legs.
Yeah, but like... But you know what I mean. But like, in the trailer, we see the red eyes as well. When he's fighting the Hand. Yeah. With his mask off, by the way. He's in a jail. It seems like a jail. Where the Hand is like... He's on like his knees with his mask off. And he opens his eyes and they're like red.
Here's my opinion on this. I really want to see Man Spider from an emotional perspective of Peter Parker. Because there's that one line from the animated show where he goes to Professor Xavier, and Professor Xavier is like, I can't do anything about it. And he's like, I could save 1,000 people 1,000 times over, but God forbid I need help one time. And he goes like, if I turn into some kind of freak, just be sorry for whoever has to stop me. Like I want to see lines like that. I want to see Peter Parker.
I don't like that.
No, I want to see because this Peter Parker doesn't have anyone right now. That's what we're establishing. He's alone. I want to see him trying. Like I want to see a new side of him that's beyond just the teenager that obviously had a girlfriend, which we've seen before. Because like obviously we saw emotional development from Peter when May died, when Tony Stark died, when all of that. But I don't want his development to just be linked to other people. I want to see development from him himself. And I think Man Spider does that better. Because it's like, how do I control this? And that's also a good way to bring the X-Men in, to be fair. That's also a good way to bring some version, maybe we see a human form of Beast. Maybe we see a human form of Beast. He talks to that.
Because we know he's going to go to Banner for help.
We know he's going to go to Banner for help, but maybe Banner calls Beast.
No.
I mean, I think they have a dynamic in some comic books.
No, but like they haven't introduced that. They're not going to introduce that here. I promise you they won't. They're just going to have him go to Banner. Banner's going to end up hulking out. And
the theory is that Banner hulks out because of Jean Grey. That's the theory.
Exactly. And I think Jean Grey will probably be the one who ends up helping him revert back from either Man Spider or from whatever other mutation he's experiencing.
Yeah. Which
I honestly, to be honest with you, I don't think they'll do full Man Spider.
I don't think they'll do a full thing, but I would love to see more than just, I have organic webbing instead of webbing.
I think we know we're going to get more than that, especially with the red eyes in that trailer.
I don't think we'll see we'll see the grotesque mandibles.
Yeah, we won't see that. I don't think so. No. So yeah, to answer that question, I don't think we will see Man Spider.
I think we'll see a variation of it. That's what I'll say. I think we'll see some, like, I don't think his face will change. I think he might get the arms, but maybe it's only when he has the suit on. I don't think we'll get the fucking screaming agony when they come out of his ribs. Like, I don't think we'll get that. But I would love to see something beyond just red eyes and a little bit of fucking pew pew, bro.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. But my last one before we move on. Do you have any more left?
This is just one thing I really liked about the trailer. The shot where he jumps off and it goes on his eye in the mask.
Yeah.
I really like that. That was just a little.
I like this one as well. One last question I have for you is this. There have been a lot of rumors that we know Peter will most likely not be in Doomsday. We know he's going to play a big part in Secret Wars. So my question to you is, because you've mentioned this before to me as well, based off of this trailer, any new information we've gotten from this trailer, do you think we're heading down a direction where Peter will die at the end of this movie and get resurrected by the symbiote in Secret Wars?
Yeah. Okay. For a little bit of context, because I don't know if I mentioned that on this channel, there was a leak of Frank Castle carrying Peter Parker, which obviously that happens in a comic line after Peter Parker dies in Civil War. I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. And there was a theory that that's how they're going to introduce the Venom suit, because obviously most everyone that's tapped into Marvel at all has at least seen the comic panel of Venom Spider-Man ripping out of the grave, crawling himself out. So there was a theory that in secret that Peter Parker will die in this movie, whether from his powers changing, whatever. Frank Castle will carry his body. He will get buried somewhere, and then somewhere on Battleworld he will rip out, because Spider-Man has in the Secret Wars comic line, which is loosely the source material. He doesn't get revived. Just Spider-Man and Miles Morales both. Obviously, we won't see Miles Morales, but Spider-Man plays a very large part in the comic line.
Yeah. But so do you think we'll see it then?
I want to see it. I just don't know if they have the balls to genuinely kill Spider-Man.
I don't think it was about the balls to kill Spider-Man.
Even if they're gonna bring him back, I just don't think they have. I would love to see that. Like, I would love to. Like, bro,
I
don't think you remember. I was 8 years old when Endgame came out. I remember sitting there watching my sister cry while Peter Parker melted into dust, bro.
Well, that's exactly where I was gonna head. Is I think the reason why they probably won't do it, in my opinion, is because they already did it in Endgame.
Yeah, they did it in Endgame, but I think
because what was the most emotional death in Endgame from someone getting snapped away? It was Peter.
From someone getting snapped away, yeah.
It was Peter.
The most emotional death was Gamora, though.
Gamora, yeah, but like from someone getting snapped away, it was Peter.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of like, we know this is someone who's gonna get brought back, so it's like,
because he was going to kill him. He was the only one that said he could get her. I don't know.
People are saying that's because of his spider sense, but like,
maybe.
That's the only reason why I don't know if they'll do it in this movie, because I don't know.
No, because here's my thing: is when he got snapped away, everyone knew he was going to get snapped right back.
Exactly.
And obviously, if he gets killed, everyone knows he's going to come back, but it's about how is he going to come back, which I think that's a big enough change that they'd be willing to do it. Especially because it's not like he's not like he's getting killed in Doomsday and brought back in Secret Wars. He's getting killed in his own movie and brought back. And he'd be brought back with the Venom suit if it's going off of the leaks the theories that I saw. Which, bro, I'm not gonna lie, who doesn't want to see the Venom suit at this point? Because like the Venom movie, the first Venom movie was okay, but we kind of need a really good Venom at this point.
Yeah, I do want to see the Venom suit. I just don't know if they'll end up doing it because they already did it in Endgame. But you don't have any other?
Yeah, let's move to Maul Shadow Lord.
Okay,
this is gonna be mostly Nico. I'll give a few interjections here and there. We'll try and go a little quick.
So, Maul Shadow Lord, I think it's the most upcoming, or the closest upcoming project for Star Wars. It's animated.
Does Mandalorian and Grogu come out sooner?
Mandalorian and Grogu, I think, might be...
No, that's the beginning of May. End of May?
I think it might be before it now that I actually think about it. But whatever. Anyways, the trailer came out a couple days ago. So we're going to talk about this. Is there anything that you want to say before I kind of start my tangent?
Okay. So I have not watched Clone Wars yet. But from what
You watched part of Clone Wars.
I watched the first 2 seasons, I think.
Okay, then yeah, you don't know too much. Yeah, I don't think you got to Maul's resurrection then, did you?
I don't think I did.
Yeah.
But obviously I know a little bit of the plot just from TikTok and Twitter and all of that stuff. From what I will say, he looked like the fighting looked pretty good. Like the animation for the fighting.
Yeah.
It like that is by far like the most like in terms of an animated trailer, that's the most fighting I think I've ever seen, and it all looked very good.
But that's also because it's Maul.
It's Maul, yes.
You can't go wrong with Maul action scenes. And number 2, I've always kind of been a big advocate of this. People have disagreed before. In my opinion, I understand why Star Wars will always end up being live action first. But in my opinion, Star Wars will always be better in animation, in my opinion. Unless you can create something to the level of like a Dune movie. Mm-hmm. Which I don't know if we're ever going to see that out of a Star Wars movie, unfortunately. But I'll start with my first talking points of Maul Shadow Lord. And that is, there is yet another Order 66 survivor. Now, here's the thing with Order 66 survivors. Usually, I'm not the biggest person to critique that. A lot of people always like to complain every time they introduce a new Jedi during Imperial times. They're like, oh, another Order 66 survivor. How many of them survived Order 66? There was like over 10,000 Jedi during like the fall of the Republic.
10,000 Knighted Jedi?
Huh?
10,000 Knighted Jedi?
No, that's between Knights, Masters, Padawans, everything.
Oh, okay.
So there's 10,000 active Jedi, and like 9,000 of them died. So there's only around like 100 left in the galaxy. No. Well, it was more than 9,000. But like, it's supposed to be the confirmed number that is supposed to be alive after the purge, after Order 66, is supposed to be around 100. Mm-hmm. We've only had, there's an exact number out there, but I think the number that we have confirmed is still in the 50s of like officially confirmed Order 66 survivors. So even though technically there is still room to introduce way more, the reason why I don't like this decision is because it's very heavily implied that this Twilight girl, who's an Order 66 survivor, she's clearly a Jedi, is going to become Darth Talon, or some version of Darth Talon. Mm-hmm. In Star Wars EU, right, the expanded universe, she was like Maul's like apprentice, mm-hmm. right? And it's very clearly they're heading down that same direction here in canon, and they're kind of changing it to where she's a Padawan instead and goes under Maul's wing after that.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't know too much about that, but I like the dynamic I saw from in the trailer. Like, I think it was kind of cool. Like, obviously, the line where it's like, the Empire may be our enemy, but Maul may never be our ally. I think that's kind of cool. Like, obviously, like, it's basic. It's just...
I just... Having her start as a Jedi Padawan is definitely a decision. And it's one that it's not really sitting right with me right now. Maybe I might change my mind once I watch the show or once they start going into that, obviously. But I'm not the biggest fan of having her start as one. Because I think a big appeal of this Maul show in general, that this is another thing I have written down that I'll just talk about now. This is probably the first time in Star Wars where we've seen a proper Darksider who's like not just like tingling and dark side tendencies. Like he's like a proper Darksider, properly fight against the Empire, which could set up some really good storytelling beats that we haven't seen before in terms of how would an ex-Sith Lord fight the Empire.
Which I really want to see. Obviously, Maul still has the arrogance of Maul. Yeah. But I want to see just like crazy. I want to see guerrilla warfare. I want to see.
We'll see that for sure.
Crazy shit.
But like,
obviously, it said in the trailer that he's worked with multiple different what did they say, terrorist group?
No, crime syndicates.
Crime syndicates.
Yeah, but because obviously, well, I'm not gonna say that because that might spoil the show. But part of the whole appeal is that's why I bring that up. Is like part of the whole appeal is. We've seen Padawans fight against the Empire. We've seen Jedi Knights fight against the Empire.
Yeah, we've never really
We know how they would go about it for the most part. We've seen Cal Kestis do it. We've seen Luke do it. We've seen Seer do it. We've seen Obi-Wan do it. We've seen a lot of these established Jedis, whether Padawans or Knights, fight against the Empire. We know what they like to do in terms of how to fight against it. This is the first time we're seeing someone like Maul do it.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't know if I like having Darth Talon start as a Jedi Padawan. Because it's like we've already seen that. So it's like I don't really have.
Yeah, like personally, I obviously I like Star Wars, but I've avoided watching the sequels entirely. Like I watched the first one when I was young, and that's it. I've watched I've avoided watching all of them. Even then, I've still seen so many different cases of a Jedi turning to the dark side, and I get it's like not exactly the hardest thing to occur like in universe.
During the Empire happens all the time, yeah.
But it's like
because that's how you get the Inquisitors.
It gets tiring, is the term I would use, because it's like, yes, coincidentally it makes sense. That was a chair. Yeah, coincidentally it was. Right. Coincidentally it makes sense. Like plot wise it makes sense, but it's like, dude, when you've seen something 20 times and then you're going and you're gonna do it another 20 times in the next 10 projects.
That's why I liked the idea of Maul fighting against the Empire.
Like even in the Cal Kestis games, Seer turned to the dark side even though she didn't fully.
Cal
Trilla,
partly does it.
Cal does it.
Yeah.
Trilla does it. The ninth sister was a Jedi that went to the dark side. Obviously they're all Inquisitors. What's the dude's name? Dagan Gera does it. It's like that's 5 in 2 games.
Yeah. And so, listen, that's why I'm not the biggest fan of it, because she's obviously going to turn at some point.
Yeah.
If she doesn't turn, that's also an issue. And I just would have preferred for her to be like someone he kind of discovers that wasn't a Jedi and is just a random Force sensitive that he kind of takes under his wing.
Yes, like
because now it's like, dude, I've already seen Maul like team up with a Jedi Padawan in Rebels when he did it with Ezra. I've already seen that. I've already seen him try to turn the light side or to the dark side.
Or this is a personal bias because I really liked Marin. I would have loved to see a Night Sister, like a fully fledged Night Sister, fighting.
Well, no, it was always going to be him and Talon.
Yeah,
that was always the plan. But I just don't like them making her Padawan first. But moving on from that, do you want to give another one before I go into my next one?
I really don't have that many more other than just piggybacking off some of the stuff you said. So you can just list a few of yours.
Okay, I'll give my next one then. I'll give my next one. This is something that I'm very excited to see because it's something that Sam Witwer, the guy who voices Maul and who has voiced Palpatine before he voiced Starkiller in the Starkiller games. This is something he's talked about in the lead up to this show is that we've never really had a canon explanation as to why Maul protects Sidious. Yeah. In terms of even during the Galactic Civil War, right? The Separatists versus the Republic, Maul is alive during all of that, and at any point he can out Sidious. Mm-hmm. He has the capabilities, he has the knowledge. At any point he could have outed Sidious as a Sith Lord, as he could have outed Chancellor Palpatine as Darth Sidious, exposed that he was behind both sides of the war, all of that. But he never did. Mm-hmm. And we never really know why. And it's very heavily implied from Sam Witwer that we're going to get some of those answers in this show. In terms of why did Maul protect Sidious then? Why is he still protecting Sidious now? Because even at the beginning of the Empire, in terms of the first few years, during this time, even at the end of the Empire, most people never knew that Sidious was a Sith Lord. Yeah. Most people never knew that Palpatine was a Sith Lord. Most of them probably didn't even really care, if they did know, because at that point it's kind of irrelevant. But the fact is that Maul could still out him for so many other things that he did as Sidious, and I really want to see how they're going to be able to explain and give good reasons as to why Maul doesn't do that kind of stuff. Yeah. Because that's been a big question in the Star Wars community for forever. It was like, because Maul ends up being so heavily involved in the Clone Wars, he hints at it so many times, right? When he's talking to Ahsoka at the end in Season 7 during their fight, he hints at it. He's like, what if I told you Sidious was behind both sides of the war? That he hints at it so many times, but never once does he out Palpatine. And I really want to finally get answers for those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean... Also, isn't it a thing that there can only be 2 Sith Lords at once?
That's the rule of Bane, but that ends up getting... Well, because at this point, Maul technically isn't a Sith Lord.
Well, no, because I'm thinking about it. Weren't Dooku, Maul, and Sidious all Sith Lords at the same time? Or no, was Dooku... Did Dooku replace Maul?
Dooku replaced Maul. Maul technically isn't a Sith Lord at that point anymore.
Okay, oh yeah, because
he's just a Darksider at that point.
Yeah.
He's just Maul.
Okay, yeah. So that was just kind of a brief thing. I mean, yeah, I would also agree with wanting to see that, because I feel like kind of getting replaced immediately and not betrayed, but like...
Well, he was betrayed.
Yeah.
Because Sidious raised him.
Yeah. So maybe it is just an allegiance to the person who gave him the life he had.
But it has to be more than that. Because he teased it so many times about outing him. So many times.
I don't know. Maybe it is just... He just fucks with the evil. Like, maybe that's it.
No, because he hates Sidious. No.
Yeah, then I couldn't tell you, honestly.
That's why, like, I want to know the actual answer as to why. So I think that's really good. The next one that I have is... We see the Inquisitor with probably the best Inquisitor design, right? It was the one with the white mask. He was on the ship. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. That was an Inquisitor?
It was an Inquisitor. Oh. And the Inquisitor was, in my opinion, the best design. I think he has a better design than pretty much all the other ones that we've seen so far. But it's not very easy to take him serious because they've kind of already fucked that Inquisitor over specifically in another project. It was either Tales of the Empire or Tales of the Jedi. I forget which one it was. Where that Inquisitor goes after Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. This is right after the Empire forms. Ahsoka manhandles him with no lightsaber. He beats... Mind you, the Inquisitor has a double-bladed saber tracking down Ahsoka. Ahsoka doesn't even have a blaster. She manhandles the fuck out of this guy. Grabs his hilt. Breaks his hilt into 2. Kills him and purifies his crystals. So how am I supposed to take this guy seriously as a threat? I watched this guy get manhandled by Ahsoka at 17 years old.
To be fair, isn't Ahsoka like...
Ahsoka's incredibly strong, yeah. Granted. But she didn't even have a fucking blaster. This guy, they won't be able to see this on the recording, but he puts his hands like above his head, right? With the fucking lightsaber, goes to swing down. Ahsoka kneels down on one knee and just catches it. And literally tears it from his grip, breaks it in 2 to make it into 2 lightsabers, kills him, and purifies the crystals. And that's where she gets her white lightsabers from.
Yeah, bro. I don't know.
And it's like, how am I supposed to take that guy seriously as a threat against Maul?
Yeah, Maul, one of the,
like Maul is way powerful than the Inquisitors. This guy's probably the weakest Inquisitor we've seen on screen so far. I'm not taking this guy seriously as a threat at all. And it's going to make it way worse if they actually make him a threat against Maul.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what to say about that. I am excited to see more of Maul. Like, see more of just his character getting developed beyond what we've seen already. Because we've seen the hatred. We've seen a
lot of Maul.
We have seen a lot of Maul.
We've seen a lot of Maul at this point.
But we've never had Maul be the only focus.
Yeah. And, I don't know. I'm really excited for that kind of stuff. But it kind of does get on my nerves with that Inquisitor, because it's the coolest looking Inquisitor we've seen. And it's the coolest looking one, and he's the worst one, objectively.
Yeah.
Because
he gets literally bitched.
Because bro, even in Maul's fight against Ahsoka in Clone Wars Season 7, she still beats him, obviously. Mm-hmm. But it's not an easy fight for her, right? She still Maul still gives her a run for her money. She destroyed this guy with not even a blaster. It's I don't know, man. My next one. This is something that kind of bothered me. I've mentioned before at this point that this show is supposedly set at the beginning years of the Empire. And in the beginning of the trailer, there's a line of like an Imperial officer or somebody talking about Maul. And they're like, we're tracking down this guy. He's affiliated with various criminal syndicates, da-da-da-da. And he goes, and supposedly he's very proficient with a laser sword.
Yeah, I remember that.
And this is obviously, again, supposedly set in the beginning years of the Empire, where people in the galaxy should still know what lightsabers are, especially Imperials. Like at this point, Jedi existed and were like the primary force of the galaxy. At this point, like only 3 years ago. At this point, probably.
Yeah.
Like there was over 10,000 Jedi in the galaxy at like 3 years ago. At this point,
unless they're saying,
why are you calling a lightsaber a laser sword?
Unless they're saying it's like the corner of the galaxy or something. Like.
Especially, and like we know it's not the corner of the galaxy, but it's like it's also like, dude, it makes no sense. Because the only way you could kind of get away with some of that dialogue is if it was like an outer rim planet. We know it's not going to be an outer rim planet more than likely. And also, even if it is, an Imperial should know what a lightsaber is. You have Inquisitors, you have Vader. Like, you don't know what a lightsaber is?
Yeah.
And that kind of pissed me off because it's like, I would have thought that, you know, Dave Filoni being in charge of this show with Sam Witwer, someone who's really knowledgeable about Star Wars, like being the lead voice actor for the show, I would have thought that they would have had.
They should have done more with it.
Yeah, I would have thought they wouldn't have let something like that slip in a trailer as well.
Yeah. And I will say this, just because we were talking about it earlier. For those who don't know, Dune is the father of Star Wars in a lot of ways.
Yeah, definitely.
The fact that near 40 years later, or well, when did the first movies come out? 1980s?
The first one came out in 1977, New Hope.
Yeah. So like almost 40 years later at this point. And we've seen Star Wars basically not go up. It's plateaued for the last like 15 years.
Plateaued is very generous. I'll say that.
Plateaued is...
Plateaued is very generous.
I'll say plateaued generous. Because of the Clone Wars TV show. But plateaued, and we've seen Dune, which was a dead franchise for a long time, get one good movie, one generational movie, about to get another even more generational movie, and Star Wars is still...
Do you remember what the first thing I said to you walking out of Dune 2?
I was about a year and a half ago at this point. What was it?
The first thing I said wasn't anything about how much I liked Dune 2. The first thing I said was, this movie proved to me that Star Wars could have been way better than it was.
Yeah.
It proved to me that, like, you could have made Star Wars so much better than it actually was. And because I do still believe as good as the Dune movies are, I still believe the world of Star Wars is better.
No, the world of Star Wars is definitely... The world of Star Wars is
the quality of the movies, the quality of the shows, even the better projects are not at the level of Dune, not even close.
No, yeah.
Not even close. And it's like, I'm not asking for them
When was the last time we got a Star Wars movie on par with Dune 1? Rogue One?
Rogue One.
Yeah.
In 2016.
Yeah. Which, like, that's crazy, bro. Because Dune 1 came out, what, 2019, 2020?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think it might have been 2019, yeah. But, yeah, it was weird because if you discount Rogue One, you probably have to go back to Empire.
Yeah.
Which released in 81, I think?
Which is crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially considering Star Wars has the most recognizable universe ever. Like, even just the theme, like, you could play that pretty much anywhere and people...
Because the only other thing that you could make an argument for is maybe Andor, but I don't think Andor reaches the level of Dune. I think Rogue One is better than Andor, and I think Rogue One is closer to that. I still think it's pretty far away.
Yeah, but it's crazy how Star Wars just the big everyone loves Star Wars. Like, bro, you find very few people who just don't like Star Wars, and still we can't get a good director.
And not even a good director. It's just
a good.
We can't get a good collection of people with the right resources behind them and with the right vision to make something.
Don't they? Because the sequels had crazy budget, didn't they?
The sequels had crazy budget, but they didn't have the right. They didn't have a plan.
Yeah.
Listen, I can go on for hours about how the sequels went wrong. My point is though, first thing I said when I came out of Dune 2 was this could have been Star Wars.
Yeah.
This could have been Star Wars, but
and hopefully with Dave Filoni taking over, because that was how long ago did he take over?
at the beginning of the year, I think.
Yeah, hopefully, like
It
maybe
wasn't-
even if it's gradual, hopefully we start seeing an uptick again instead of the spiral. We'll say that we saw under what's her name.
I don't have a lot of faith. I'm gonna say that I don't have a lot of faith.
Even if it's slow, I think for stuff like this, like,
I've said this.
they will never stop making Star Wars projects.
Oh, definitely not. I'll say this though, and I've kind of maintained this. I don't think Star Wars will ever reach the level that it was at until it makes a new trilogy. Because I think there's only so much you can do during Imperial, like the Empire time period.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do there. There's only so much you can do that's set during the prequels. They're kind of already done with the prequel era.
Yeah.
Like there isn't really anything they're gonna do during the prequel era. A lot of the focus is either during the Empire or right after the Empire.
Or High Republic.
And no, they haven't touched High Republic.
Well, no, I'm saying they should do High Republic. That's what I'm saying.
They could do High Republic. My thing is, if you because there was plans for a Rey movie that never ended up going through because no one likes Rey. There were plans for other shows, movies based on the sequel era that didn't end up going through because no one likes the sequels. And so, the way I see it is, yeah, you'll have a good project here and there. You'll get an Andor. You'll get, hopefully, a Maul Shadow Lord will be at a good level. You'll get other projects that will be good. I just don't think Star Wars will ever get back to the level that it once was at until you get... They're never going to reboot it, but until you get that, like, start fresh, clean slate, give a good director 3 movies. Give him a trilogy. Give him the resources. Give him the creative control. And, like, find someone who not just knows about the universe, but has actual good ideas that you're not going to just, as a studio, be like, oh, that's good, but we want to do this. So, like, oh, man, dude. Cut there. We got a, is it recording? Oh, it is. Okay. Sorry for the weird cut. I got a phone call. But, yeah, I don't think Star Wars will get to that level again until they give a director creative control and a clean slate over a new trilogy.
This is a completely side topic, bro. Chuck Norris is dead.
Yeah, let's not. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I'll move on to my next point. I like that we're actually going to see followers of Maul in this show because we've seen glimpses of that, but we've never actually seen any real looks at Maul commanding people. And it seems like Mandalore might be involved as well, which is like really cool. And I don't know, I'm just really looking forward to that.
Yeah. I mean, I have not much to say until we end up getting to this stuff and I end up watching all of this. So, yeah, I think I'm done for today. What about you?
I have one more. Actually, no, I'm lying. Yeah, because I already said this one. So, yeah, that's all we have for Maul Shadow Lord. So, yeah, in summary, we have 3 very good projects to look forward to. And yeah, we'll end up reviewing those when they come out. Our next episodes that you could look forward to.
We're still deciding what we're gonna do next.
Well, we will end up reviewing Invincible Season 4.
We will end up reviewing Invincible Season 4 when the finale comes out, and we're doing the Michael movie in a few weeks.
We are doing that. We also will be doing the Stranger Things Tales from 85 show as well. Unfortunately. But yeah, we will be reviewing those as well. So those are some of our upcoming stuff. Like, subscribe if you're on YouTube, comment, all that stuff. If you're on Spotify, follow our Spotify. If you like our channel, like our content, follow us. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, it's all just the Galactapod. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week.